Alright, in this video let's see how to log into Gmail using your email address and then password by giving it this in two different pages. So what do I mean by that is Gmail is actually designed in a way. First you have to give your email address and then you have to click on next. Once this is done you have to give your password and then click on submit. It's not very straight like Facebook where you have username and password in the same screen where you have to give the username and password. Alright, in this video let's see how to log in to your Gmail account using Selenium Java. The trick here is Gmail hasn't made the page where you can give username and password in the same screen. Instead you have to give the username first and then click on next. The username I mean is it could be either your email address or your phone number first, and then you have to click on next. Then it will take you to the new screen where you have to give the password, and there you have to click on a submit button. Let's see this how to automate this using Selenium Java. Now I'm switching back to my Eclipse screen. Let me create from the first. So first thing that you have to do is, if this is your first program, then you can watch this, otherwise you can skip to the programming part. You have to go to file and then from file go to new and create the Java project. I name this as my first project. Let me call this as my first project and then click on finish. Now if I expand this, I'll be seeing two different libraries. So the next thing I have to do is go to new and then you have to create a package. A package is kind of a test suite for testers where you have number of test cases. In terms of Java, it's called classes. You'll be putting a lot of classes within Java package. For now let's not worry about all these things. If you're a beginner watching this video, now focus on creating a package. I gave this package as login. I'm giving the name as login and then I'm clicking on finish. Next thing I'm doing is I have to create a class. As I said, a class is kind of a test case in your if you belong to a testing type of work, then you will understand what I'm trying to say here. So you have to create anyhow you have to create a class and you have to give the class name. I'm giving the class name as Gmail login. You have to check the public void main method, because without public static void main we cannot run the Java program. Right, now I'll be having these things. So the first thing that you have to do to open your Gmail website in a browser, you have to decide which browser that you're going to work with. In this example I'm going to work with my Chrome browser, so I'm not going to work with the Firefox or the IE, so it's about Chrome. So if you're Firefox, you have to make a little bit changes. So I'll be telling you what are the changes. You can make those changes particularly. Now if you see, the first step is I have to set the system properties. So the code for that is system dot set property, and here I have to select set property, and in the first column I have to give there is a keyword for Chrome browser and the Firefox browser, and here basically you have to give the name for your browser, and then here you have to give the path to access your Chrome driver, right? So here you have to give the name, and here you have to tell the system that tell Eclipse that where is your Chrome .exe file. So before this you might have known that how to download the Chrome drivers and Firefox drivers and then IE drivers. If you want to know, here's a quick go through of how to download. Just go to Google and then enter download Selenium. So as I said, if you're somebody looking for coding part, then I suggest you to skip this. configuration things, and you can directly watch, skip a further and directly watch my videos on from the logging part. So once you give Selenium download, and you can see some website, in Selenium website, if you can scroll down a little bit, you can see the drivers for Firefox, and then the driver for Chrome, and you can also see the driver for Internet Explorer. So all these configurations you should have done. So if you haven't done, then you should be doing that. So as this video is purely focusing on logging into Gmail, I'm skipping those things. So this is just an high level idea of you, for you, that these files you should download. Now what I want is, I wanted to give the name. So it's a standard name, it's webdriver.chrome.driver, and if you are using Firefox, you have to change this as Gecko instead of Chrome, and here I have to give the path. So in order to save time, I'm going to copy this particular path from my previous program. So I'm copying the path, and then I'm pasting that over here, right? So when you copy, this is what happens. Normally the slashes will paste twice, so you have to remove those things. Put a semicolon. All the piece of code has to end with semicolon, except the loops and then functions or methods. You need to put semicolon. So rest all should end with semicolon. So the next step is we have to get driver dot. The next step is you have to create a WebDriver. You have to create a WebDriver. Driver equals new Chrome driver. So here the thing is, if you notice this, there is some red error. It's because you don't have the libraries required to access your Chrome browser has been configured in your project. So you have to configure that. To configure those libraries, you have to right click on the project, go to build path, and navigate to configure build path, and click on add external libraries. So you should have downloaded all these files before, so I'm assuming that you do have this and you have all the setups prior to this video. So now I actually imported one Selenium server standalone, and the other thing I'm looking for is my Selenium. Where is my library? So I kept it somewhere, so give me some time, I'll find this out. So where is it? Yeah, so here I have my Chrome driver, and inside Selenium I have my library files. So copy all those libraries, and then go to, I think I copied that. I just skip this too, copy this also. Now apply and close. Now if I mouse over on this, I should get some option like this. It's changed to WebDriver, so there's a spelling error, and mouse over on this, and again I have changed this to Chrome driver. So Java is case sensitive. You should be careful about your spellings, your uppercase and lowercase. Now this is imported. If you notice on top that the packages that belongs to this WebDriver has been downloaded successfully, imported successfully actually. Now after you initiated the driver, you have to open your Google or Gmail login URL. So for that you have to use driver.get. This helps you to navigate to your website. So I'm gonna copy this website. Let me double check that this is navigating me to the login page. Yes, so this is what we are interested in. So give the URL here, and then driver.find element. So first you have to inspect the element. Go inspect this element, and yes, so we got type, and then we got username. Let's stick with the ID, right? Let's use ID by dot ID, and here just paste the ID that you copied and then put a semicolon. Now get into driver dot find element again. This time, after entering the email address, actually if you notice here, what you want to do after inspecting that element, I have to pass my email address. So let's assume my email address is 1989. I'm giving my email address here, and then in the second part over here I'm going to click the next button, right? So again I have to inspect my next button. It says text, so let me use this based on the text, or this, for this one let's not, I can either use text or I can copy XPath, or you can use something. Let me try this if this works, otherwise I'll change back to XPath itself. So sorry, I'll change back to the, yeah, change back to XPath. I was right. So I'm, instead of copying that directly, I'm gonna use my own customized XPath. So I'm defining, so it's again a concept of customizing the XPath. Okay, let's make this video very simple. Okay, inspect element. If you inspect element, sorry, if you inspect this is the one, right? Yes. So I wanted to click on this button, so this is the one I'm interested in. Copy XPath, and I want to test that. You can put here, always test before you implement that in Eclipse, and remove the double quotes into single quotes. Click on enter, and yeah, so this is what I'm interested in. Now let's paste the XPath here. Click on semicolon and convert this double quotes into single quotes. Now what you want to do with this, we want to click the next button. So it's always after you are identifying the element, you have to decide what is the action that you want to perform with the element that you identified. So here I wanted to perform the send keys. I want to enter username. So if you want to enter any text in the text box, you have to use send keys, but if you want to click on something, you have to do click. So in either case, don't worry which keyword is that. If you always press the dot, it will give you all the options that is available, so you can use one among this. You cannot use anything other than this list, basically. So yeah, the next task is, after I enter my Gmail address, clicking on next, I have to give my password, right? So I have to inspect the password again, and this time let's stick with what else we have. We have type, we have name. So let me see what are the locators I can use in Selenium. So find element, by dot, I have a class. So do they have class? This class is having a space, so it's not advisable to use this class. I think I have a name, maybe. Yeah, so it has a name. I can use name password. So I'm sticking with name. Then I'm clicking this again. So I'm clicking. So here what we are doing is, no, actually I'm not clicking here. If you notice, after inspecting the password, I have to enter my password. So to enter anything, you have to use send keys, and here I'm giving my random password, and then yes. So next, I have to click on next. So again, I have to inspect element, same as previous stuff. Just copy this XPath and driver dot find element, by dot XPath, and in here you paste XPath you copied. As usual, you have to remove the double quotes into single quotes. You should not give the double quotes, and Yes, so what you want to do with this, the action you want to perform is click. Right, we have perfectly written the code for entering username and password, but I doubt that this would not work. There is a reason for that, but let's see how far this program works once I run. So let me run this as a Java application. Click on OK. The path to the driver must executable must be okay. There is something wrong with the path that needs to be executed. The thing is, there is no such thing as user kind of my Gecko driver. So let me take it from my previous project. So let me go to an introduction, maybe actions demo. Yeah, yes, I think even this is not correct. Alerts maybe. No. So dynamic drop downs, I think this is the right one. Yes, let me go back to Gmail login and then paste this over here. I think both were same, but let me open the Chrome my folder and then make sure whether I do have something called Chrome driver. So this is the thing. This is a little bit annoying. You have to remove this slash. Do I have Chrome? Let me try. Yes, I do have Chrome. Now let me try this program again. Run as Java application. Click on OK. Yes, this time it's working. I think the problem was with this, the name of the driver. Now this is open and username is enter. Clicking on next, and you see that the password is not entering. The password is not entering. It's because if you go back, close this window, if you go back and now can read, it's unable to locate an element named as password. The one reason for this error is element not found or unable to locate element is because it takes time to locate the element because password lies in the second page, so it needs time to load the page. So what we're going to do now is let's use implicit weight on top, which is always advisable to use implicit weight. Now if you are wondering what is implicit weight and explicit weight, don't confuse. It's just that we are telling the system to wait for a specific amount of seconds. If you are not able to find the element, then throw an error, but until then wait for the time that I have mentioned in my implicit wait. So it's just I'm telling them to wait for 30 seconds or 60 seconds and still you couldn't find anything, then throw an error. Otherwise just wait for 30 seconds. Don't hurry up the process. So it's the request I'm sending to the Eclipse. So yes, so in order to do that, driver dot manage dot times out dot implicitly wait, you can say for 60 seconds max, and time unit dot, it could be seconds. Yes, so perfect. Right, so this is seconds. Now if I run this program, it's not that it's going to wait for 60 seconds, though it has found, though it is finding the element at 30th second or at 40th second. It's like once it finds the element within the 60 seconds of time interval, it will skip the waiting time and it start working on the next line of the code. It will not wait till the 60 seconds to load completely. That's the advantage of using the implicit wait rather than there's something called thread.sleep. So if you're someone beginner listening to this, don't worry about this thing. So this piece of code, what it does is it tells the machine to wait for the amount of time that you declare, And why we do that? Because it takes page to load and identify this element. So we are, by default, the Selenium itself will wait for some seconds, but it's beyond that. It's an additional time that we are adding. So we clearly noticed that the element was not finding because this element was not able to identify. So we are believing that this is because of the time, and this is because the system might need some more time to load this particular element. Now if I run this program, let's see how this works. How it is opening the Chrome browser. It's giving the username, next, entering password, and next. So this is working fine. The error message is because I gave the invalid password, and that's completely normal. So once you click next with your valid password, you can see your Gmail login page. So that's it about this video. So this is how you log into Gmail, and don't forget, for Gmail you need to give the wait time because the password needs some time to load. You can also use explicit wait. If you're familiar with explicit wait, you can explicitly call out waiting time for this particular element. So yep,